Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with another speed build, and this is going to be a base game house very much inspired by these windows that I'm placing down on screen now. I don't think I've ever used them before. I think they were added to base game a few years ago, and for some reason I've never used them, and I really liked them here, so I decided we were going to create a Victorian home just using the base game, and this is located in the world of Newcrest on the Oak Alcove lot. It's a 20 by 15 lot. It has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and comes in at just over 110,000 simoleons. You also might recognize this build if you follow me over on Twitch, as I did stream this earlier in the week. So if you'd like to join for future builds, I stream over on twitch.tv/Gryphi, and that is linked in the description. And if you'd like to download this build for yourself, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You can also find it under the hashtag Gryphi, and that information is also in the description. I've been really into building with base game recently. I've been working on a series on the channel where I am renovating base game houses only using the base game, which has been really fun to do. I think trying to use the items in different ways with the limited amount available is really fun, and of course it makes it so the builds are way more accessible to everyone as well. So I've been really enjoying that, and that's actually kind of how this build came to be. I had finished a base game renovation that will be out on the channel sometime later this month, and started working on this, and I pulled out those windows and I was like, you know what, we're going to use these. So it's just been really fun to play around with base game more. So if you have any other things you would like to see with just the base game, definitely let me know. I'm down to do that, especially as we are currently in that waiting period for the next expansion pack. I feel like it's kind of hard to focus on other builds when all I want to do is get my hands on Life and Death and play with that. So definitely open to suggestions as always. But here we are trying to add this like corner piece to the house, I guess sort of like a tower or a turret. And so I am trying to extend the roof to accommodate for that. And I will say the roofing here ends up looking really nice. However, I have to make it look worse later on because no matter what I did, it was clipping into the house and it wouldn't work. So I have to make it look a little bit worse in order for it to work on the inside, which is really frustrating. But you'll see that a little bit later on. I think I cut out the process of me fiddling with it because it took so long to do. I did do it live though, so if you want to see that process, you should be able to find the VOD over on my Twitch channel. But right now I am just adding a roof over here, and then I'm going to extend this piece here, but I didn't want to extend the top roof, so I ended up actually just adding another one of these pieces and kind of combining it with the octagonal roof to make that connect to there nicely. And then I'm adding a chimney piece over here. I do end up making it smaller, 1 tile, because I thought the 2 tile looked a little bit too big. And there'll be a couple of other like little changes as we go about. I believe I move it over at some point in the build as well. And also the windows were so frustrating in this build. I got them all to match on the outside, and then when I went inside, they were 3 different colors. One of them was black on the inside, one was white, and one was brown. So I was very frustrated, and I did have to change a lot of the windows later on, but I was adamant about keeping the windows that inspired this build, so those do end up staying. But here I am choosing the wallpaper and some of the spandrels. The spandrels are going to change, and so are the color of the windows, but I knew I wanted this to be a brick house with red flowers. I thought it looked really pretty. The inside is definitely not the same color scheme. I just wanted to have a really cozy exterior, and inside has a variety of colors in it. I try to a lot of times match the exteriors to interiors, but I don't think that's that realistic in real life. And I didn't really want this to be super dark, so I decided to not do that. But the outside is a little bit dark, and you could definitely renovate it and change the colors for whatever family you have in mind. But I had a lot of fun with this one. So anyway, I am in the back now deciding to extend the porch to go around the entire backyard as well, because it felt kind of weird that it abruptly ended. But there is so much porch space that you probably don't need, and it adds extra price to this house. So that's something you could change if you want to lower the budget of the home. Or you could add more activities out there. I only added a couple because this is only using the base game, so kind of limited in the activities I could choose. And I believe, do I add a chess table outside, or is that inside? I'm not sure. I might have not added that because the build I was working on before this had multiple chess tables. So then I was like, I'm not going to add another one. So I think this one might not have one. But anyway, here I am changing the shape on the exterior. I decided I didn't like the bump out, and then I did really like how the wood on the trim of these windows matched with the brick. And so I'm trying to change all of the swatches to work with that. And then when I get inside, I get very frustrated. So those windows do stay the same, but the other windows I'm going to change to different ones, and they're actually going to be black windows instead, which I think worked out okay because the trim on the main windows I'm using is brown, but the interior portion is black. So I thought it was fine that the rest of the windows were black. It ends up being very cohesive on the inside, and overall I was really happy with it. And then right now I was just messing around with some of the spandrels. I changed my mind on the color. You can see a little bit of the roof clipping on the inside here. No matter what I did, how many rooms I changed, that little piece would stay inside, and some rooms made the whole roof come inside, so now the roof looks a little funkier. But like I said, I didn't keep that in the build because it was a very long process, and you can see the 3 different colored windows here. Why is The Sims like that? So I will be changing those windows here shortly, but here is the floor plan. We have a very big primary bedroom, a small secondary, and then downstairs is where all of the other space is. We have a kitchen, dining area, office, entryway, and I don't end up keeping that faux fireplace. I placed that down not thinking that it is part of the free holiday pack. So technically it's not base game, but if you only have base game, you can grab that pack. I believe in one of the renovations, I did the one that I did before this build that will be out in a couple of weeks because it's going to take me forever to edit. I did use a couple of items from the holiday pack, but generally speaking, I try not to. But here are the windows that I did switch to have everything cohesive on the inside. And then I'm picking out a flooring and starting to play with wallpapers, which I changed a bunch of times. But I just wanted something that looked more traditional and fit the style of this home. And I think I did okay at it. The kitchen took me way too long to do, though. I was so indecisive on how I wanted this space to look. I was kind of adamant on using these counters, though, because I don't use them that often. The other more traditional base game counter is the one I go for always. So I was like, okay, we're using these ones this time. And I think I would have liked the kitchen better if I used my favorites, but I tried really hard to use these, and I think it came out okay in the end, but I like the rest of the interior a lot better. I did end up going for this backsplash or this tile that I use quite a bit in base game houses because I tried like every other base game tile and I just wasn't liking it. I'm not sure these are the right ones for this house either, but I was just really struggling with this kitchen. It was a difficult one for me to figure out for some reason, but I still think it came together okay in the end. Just getting some clutter on the counters here. I have my favorite base game vase, some wine, some bread, a place to keep your utensils, and I don't think I add too much more in here. Just a couple of other decorations and a coffee pot as well as a dishwasher and some flowers both on the table and by the sink. And then I think on the other side of the room, I might add the aprons a little bit later. I, for some reason, always forget their base game. I don't know why that is. Oh, no, I added them now. Okay. And then this hutch here as well. And then we are moving into the living room where I try a few different couches and a few different colors, as well as a variety of fireplaces. And at one point, I finally figured it out. And I was actually really happy because I end up bringing the brick from inside or from outside inside just behind the fireplace, and I think it helped a lot. Also, opening up this entryway so it's not fully blocked off and it is mostly spandrels and a half wall, I think really helped with the interior, and then doing the same thing as an archway into the kitchen so it's not so closed off. And I ended up using this fireplace with the brick behind it, and I brought in these sofas with the stripes on them, which I thought was really pretty. We're going to be switching the colors a couple of different times. I was really trying to make this yellow rug work. It didn't work in the end, but I do want to use that swatch at some point because I think it is really pretty and not one I have used. So just playing around with those swatches here and adding some pillows to the couches, which is honestly such a game changer. I am so glad that those are officially in base game now. Even before, when they were part of only if you partook in an event, I still thought it was so cool to have them, but I'm glad that everyone has them in base game now. Having cushions you can just place anywhere to decorate couches, beds, floors, anything is just so nice because you can really customize the space. And then just adding a TV over the fireplace and some clutter on the fireplace as well. So I got a couple of books up here. I believe I grabbed a lamp. I tried a few different ones, but I feel like I have favorite base game lamps. There's some that I never use. I did try to use them in this build a couple of times. I think one of them ends up staying, but it was definitely mostly this lamp that I have on the fireplace. I also added this little clock, which I never used, which I thought was really pretty and fit in here nicely. And then I loved this little dining area. I just feel like the bump out for the tower space was perfect for a dining space. I originally kind of wanted to have a separate dining room, but the house was small and I felt like it just naturally made sense for the dining room to be right there. So that's what I did. And then in the entryway, I am just trying to figure out which mirror I'd like to have here. And I end up using this one, and I rotate it with the tool mod so that it is horizontal instead. And I thought that that worked quite nicely. I really wish that this mirror was horizontal automatically, or that we could easily change that without a mod, but I still liked it. And then I added the Gryphi in the entryway. I've been using this item a lot. I think it is so pretty. It's just a nice stereo that came with the Grim event that's going on right now, which, speaking of which, I haven't done this week's activities yet. So I haven't unlocked the next items. So I should probably do that. It's a good reminder to myself and to you if you haven't done them yet. I believe this week there's a bicycle to unlock. But anyway, this is the downstairs bathroom. It's just a half bath. So I just have a sink and a toilet and a couple of decorations. The one upstairs is a full bath, so your Sims can shower and all of that upstairs. But I thought for down here, I just wanted to include a second bathroom, and there wasn't a lot of space. I didn't want to like cram it all into this area. You can have a fully functioning bathroom with a shower, sink, and toilet in 4 tiles like this. It's definitely possible. I just thought it looked nicer to not do that, and that is why I did that. But yeah, just getting a towel and some storage over the toilet paper, a little plant up on the back. This one doesn't automatically place on the back. I guess it's too big of a slot, or the slot's not big enough for the plant, so I didn't do that. And then this is the office on the main floor. I never used this desk, so I was actually pretty excited to use it. Just grabbing a computer there and some like plans above it. I'm not really sure what those are, but I do think they look nice. I also got a bonsai tree in here for your Sims to work on that. And I think that ups your gardening skill, maybe. I might be wrong on that. I know it's a skill building item, and it's a cool one that for a very long time I never used because it used to only have one swatch of wood on the bottom, but now it has a variety of them. So I decided to use that in here. And then this is the upstairs bathroom. Pretty simple, a layout I do very often. I just switched where the sink and the toilet are because I never do that. I still think it looks a little odd because this isn't how bathrooms are where I live. It's always the sink when you first walk in, but I thought it was a little bit different, and I've heard in comments that this is more common for some of you, so I decided to do that in here. There wasn't really a variety of ways I could lay out this bathroom based on where it was placed. And then I am starting to figure out which bed I would want to use in the primary bedroom. I thought the green one at first, but I ended up going with this one, which I'm going to change the swatch to have more of a floral print. It ends up being a very beige room, but I do really like it. I tried to keep the color scheme pretty consistent throughout the home, so there's a lot of blues and beiges throughout, even though the exterior doesn't look like that. But like I said, most people don't match the exterior of their house to the interior, so I was just trying to make the inside pretty consistent. The only thing that's not is the kids' room because they decorate their own space. Their parents are most likely not decorating that. Well, I mean, their parents are paying for it, but a lot of times it's tailored to their interests and their favorite colors and all of that. But we'll talk more about that room once we get to it. I'm just cluttering up the bedside tables here. I also have a portrait on the wall, and I believe I get a chair over in the window. Yeah. There ends up being a lot of empty space in the middle of this room. I thought about putting another seating area, but it just felt a little strange, so I didn't end up doing that. So there is just a lot of space for whatever else you'd like to add in here if you decide to renovate this room, but I thought it was okay. I think that's also kind of realistic. Not every space in a room is always completely full, and also I feel like you could add maybe an ensuite over here or a walk-in wardrobe or some of the built-in wardrobes from like get together. And then this is the kids' room. I decided to use this bright yellow bed because I've never used this swatch before, and I didn't even realize it had that swatch. So it ends up being a yellow and blue room inspired by the bed and the rug I picked out, and there ends up being so many like little animal paintings everywhere, and for a while I wasn't sure if it was coming together. I was very, nervous about how this was coming out because it's just different than rooms I've done before. But I think it came out okay in the end. It's definitely different, and that's what I wanted to do. And I know that there's often a lot of different interests in kids' rooms. I know mine was that way, but it wasn't so cohesive with a color scheme like this one is. Mine was like every color of the rainbow, but I think it started coming together once I placed down this fox lamp. I love this one. It came with the base game update when we got infants, and it's just so pretty. I also added a giraffe over here. I love the big bunny stuffed animal. We got some books, and I believe they end up adding an artist table in here. There's a toy box, there's a dresser. So I was able to fit a decent amount into this space, and I was overall pretty happy with it. It just took me a little while, and sometimes you just got to stick with it to get to the end result, because I thought about completely changing the color scheme and scrapping the idea of using that bed so many different times, but I'm glad I stuck with it in the end because it's just nice to have something a little bit different every once in a while. I feel like there are certain items that you just go back to and use over and over again, and it's hard to step away from them. So it's nice when you can successfully do something a little bit different. But yeah, I'm just decorating these shelves I put over here with some toys and books and a couple of items on the dresser as well. And that should be it for the kids' room. And then I think all we have left is outside, which will be like finishing the landscaping and adding a couple things in the almost non-existent backyard. Like I believe I got some monkey bars out there, and then there's a couple of things on the porch as well, so your Sims have some outdoor activities to do. So just adding a bench out here and a couple of other things like a hose and some decorations. I do get rid of the bench though and decide to put a grill there instead so your Sims can do some barbecuing. But since I haven't done this in a while, if you are still watching, comment the word bunny in the description, not in the description, in the comments. I don't know why I always do that. So I know that you are still here. I would love to see how many people say that and also confuse anyone that didn't watch to the end. That's always a bit of fun. But here is the monkey bars and the couple of planters out back. And then I worked forever on the landscaping in the front. I just wasn't happy with it, so it took me a really long time. But with that, we should be heading on into screenshots here shortly. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And also thank you so much to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, there is a link in the description, or you can press the join button below the video. Not only will you receive thank yous in all of my YouTube videos going forward, but I also post members only sneak peeks of future builds on my community tab. And I'm thinking of some future members only videos. I'm thinking like the prep work and research behind future state builds. And I am currently working on a state build right now, so maybe that'll be something sometime soon. But anyway, we are actually heading into screenshots now, so thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.